of these tracks are very hard to turn around on.
You can waste a lot of energy and time trying to U-turn your dirt bike. Let's look at some ways to make it easier, especially in hard terrain and tight tracks. First, a quick refresher from our basic U-turns video, the rear wheel spin. Just lean the bike over against your leg, feed in clutch and spin that rear wheel around. It's easy, but there are plenty of options that don't rip up the track too. The sidestand technique, really only recommended for bikes with a very strong sidestand. A good pivot turn can spin the bike around in less than its own length, but it can be hard for shorter riders. It can be tough for tall riders too. You need to pull the front up as quickly as possible with the bike barely moving. You can combine the rear wheel spin and pivot turn for a faster U-turn that can also be easier for shorter riders as the front wheel doesn't come up too high. Lean the bike over against your leg, compress the front forks. As they rebound, drop the clutch and pull the bars in the desired direction. Practice this on a very loose surface like gravel to prevent the bike launching away from you. Mini U-turns are great in tough terrain or for shorter riders. Instead of a 180-degree turn, make a series of smaller turns. You can also do a series of very small pivot turns by weighting the forks, then releasing the clutch very quickly for a brief instant. Done correctly, the bike will barely move forward, which is very useful in rocky terrain. Save energy. Make the bike do the work by riding up slopes and rolling the bike back. Think outside the box and use obstacles to help turn the bike around. In some cases, you may be able to get the front wheel along the obstacle. You can also bounce the front wheel off rocks, logs, steep banks or rock faces to help turn that front wheel around. You can do this on the move in a trial-style floater turn. Use the obstacles to make pivot turns easier, or for short riders, just hop off the back, then ease the bike into a U-turn.
He's walking the dog.
This leads into the vertical pivot turn, a cool technique for the taller riders in very tight situations. Compress the front forks, apply a very quick bit of clutch and throttle to lift the front wheel very quickly. The trick to almost have no forward speed, so you can hold the bike vertically, then pivot it around to the desired direction. And it might look ridiculous, but walking the bike like this can sometimes get you through some very deep ruts to avoid the foot pegs digging in. If a tight track has a steep wall, the vertical pivot turn becomes easier. Simply do a normal pivot turn, then rest the front wheel against the wall. It is normally easier if you stall the engine. This prevents the bike from rolling backwards.
Remember guys, if you're short, start off the bike. Once it's up there, you're off the bike. It doesn't matter if you're not that tall. You can stall her and just bounce around at your leisure. You can do this if you're 5'2". Might be a bit harder.
Don't start too close to the wall or use too much throttle. Front wheel hops can be very useful on a steep hill climb. This will be easier with small amounts of throttle and a quick slip of the clutch. If it is very steep, you can pull the bike into a vertical position and spin it around. The rear wheel hop is an advanced trials technique that looks great, but in reality is not an essential skill. It's rare to even see Jarvis using this in an extreme enduro event. We have done a training vid on this if you are interested. However, on some very steep slopes, you can apply the front brake and push on the handlebars to bounce the rear wheel around. Once the rear wheel is in the air, push your body against the bike to swing it around. Pivot turns over logs. We've already covered this in an existing video. In a tight spot, you can actually use a log to do a U-turn. U-turns on hills. A lot of the techniques covered here will help you turn around on a climb. But if you have room, we have covered the basic technique of turning right in this existing video. So there you go guys, 10 different ways to do U-turns. You don't need to learn them all, but it's certainly handy to know a few of these for those tough sections out there.